right, so the previous episode we talked about March Madness and the Celtics beating the Sixers. Nuggets lost to the Timberwolves. We talked about David Montgomery is heading to Houston. Howard is headed to Cleveland. And we talked free agency. We will continue. Let's see what's coming up on JDB's morning cap. And we say good morning. Welcome to JDB's Morning Cap. Today is Tuesday, March 4th, 2026. And now we're happy that this show will continue to go on. We know we're excited about that, so we're happy that this show will be existing here today. So free agency starts next week as the offseason is approaching right now. So we love to see how much we're expected to look forward to. All right, let's start with the Dallas Cowboys. Now the Cowboys trying to create more patience as far as acquisitions, so the Dallas Cowboys can put themselves into this mix. So let's take a look at the Cowboys. Here's 2026 notable moments so far. The Cowboys have placed George Pickens on a franchise tag. Javonte Williams signed extended a 3-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys. So now, and Brendan Aubry's situation is looming. So here's the question right now. Can the Cowboys improve their acquisitions? Can the Cowboys improve their off-season acquisitions? So before I answer this question, in the last couple of years, the Cowboys have made the fewest acquisitions in the off-season in the NFL. So, and this is a golden opportunity to add more players this off-season. And the only thing they really have for the Cowboys, the luxury tax is going to be different, and we've just been talking about, can the Dallas Cowboys put themselves into the mix for a Super Bowl contender? And if so, what makes the Cowboys be a Super Bowl contender? You got to have elite defensive player level. They didn't have that over the last few years. Even they lost Michael Parsons last offseason. I mean, they lost DeMarcus Lawrence to the Seahawks. He was one of the most important defensive players for the Cowboys over the last 4 or 5 years. And now he's with the Seahawks, and now he's a Super Bowl champion. And secondary experience. I mean, you talk about you losing Trevon Diggs late last season. He was waived by Dallas. That's completely disappointing because it really doesn't turn out a lot when you're asking a whole lot of questions about the Dallas Cowboys. Like I said, can the Cowboys improve their offseason acquisitions? And if I answer this question, the answer is yes. And how they can do that? They need to add defense and then draft some guys. I don't care if you draft most guys and sign some veteran players on defense. I don't give a damn what you gotta do. Just do your job. Just do your job. Jerry Jones or someone else. But this isn't the worst thing for Dallas. You got two options. First, either the player wants to play in the Cowboys and sign, or they can walk to other teams. But it wasn't going to matter anyway. And in my beliefs, they would have done it. So we left this discussion right off the table. But that's the case. Maybe things isn't much better at all. Now, if nothing seems working, and then you make matters worse, then you will see yourself out. And that will be my hope. Because of that, you talk about the Cowboys did not secure anything else. And we just took like there's so many different looks. Speaking of different looks, they got different coaches now, different coaching staff for the Cowboys. We've seen multiple firings. We've seen some new coaching staff acquisitions for Dallas, including Christian Parker. He's now a new Cowboys defensive coordinator, trying to restructure their defense. The defense has struggled the last couple of years. So they got to turn this thing around if they want to win not just the NFC East division, likely get to the NFC Championship game and get to the Super Bowl. They have not done that over the last 3 decades, roughly 3 decades. That's totally unheard of in the NFL. I mean, that's the longest active drought in the Super Bowl era, by the way. The Cowboys have the longest drought without reaching the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl era. 30 years without reaching the NFC Championship game. That's unbelievable. The longest, actually the farthest they've been to that round since that time is divisional round. That's it. They reached the Super Bowl before the drought began. And the Cowboys have not been easy. They have been difficult for years now. I mean, that's few other teams that have reached conference championship games. Texans haven't reached the conference championship game yet, because Texans have no success in the divisional round. You know what's ironic? The Texans have not had a home divisional round game ever. That's ironic. That was. For the Dallas Cowboys, like I said, the furthest the furthest they went is the division round for Dallas. That's tough. That is absolutely tough. You hate to go see that. You hate to see this situation going like this. And you trust anyone else? You're putting yourself behind the 8 ball. I mean, since 2021, Cowboys have been top 5 most penalized team in the NFL. And that's what really happens right now. As for George Pickens, like I said, the future is going against him. We like I said a few weeks, I've been saying this for several weeks now about George Pickens. George Pickens, he's a good dog, man. He had a career best season last year, and now he's placing on the franchise tag. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing for the franchise. This is embarrassing for the league. Period. Why do you place a wide receiver in a franchise tag in a crucial manner? And now this is a situation you don't want to miss. And that's what's holding back. Hold on. So with that being said, there's a lot. Like I said, George Pickens, he should get paid. I mean, just like everyone else. They should get paid because they just don't have enough firepower to work with. So yeah, it's just like that. Because of this is a golden issue for Dallas Cowboys. Hopefully that will change on a little bit. So if they can do all that, then this is a different story. So that really rocked with it. So let's just say this about George Pickens. And we had seen players who could place their franchise tags in their respective teams. So like I said, the NFL news is expected to be involved. We'll get to that a little bit later, but we talk about George Pickens. Like I said, I believe he's going to be traded. I believe George Pickens is going to be traded this offseason if they already franchise tagged him. So if you keep him for 1 year, if you have another good season, then you got a pretty good shot to sign the extension as soon as late in the season. Hopefully that's the case right now. So we'll see what would happen next year. But the defense is the biggest priority. So who has to cap? Who's in the Cowboys defensive lineup right now? Quinn and Williams. DeMarvion Overshown. James Houston, Siobhan Revel Jr., Donovan Ezaraku. He's gonna have surgery, by the way. That's unfortunate. Solomon Thomas, Shamar Jones, Donovan Wilson, so there's players, so they got to add more talent on defense if they want to win football games, if that's going to be the case. So let's see if Dallas can turn the corner this offseason. If that's going to be the case right now. So let's see how that goes here right now. All right, so coming up next, we will talk about NFL free agency. We'll talk about Spurs. We'll score off the Sixers in Philadelphia tonight. And then Jayson Tatum, we'll update Jayson Tatum when he's going to return. And then Clippers battle the Warriors in San Francisco. They squared off last night, by the way, so we'll get to all that in this one here. All right, so it's coming up next. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back here. We had the NFL free agency 10 days away, but we did have some news to share that the Jets have placed Breece Hall in a franchise tag. So that's the update. It's according to Adam Schefter. Heard that the Jets are tagging Hall with $14.293 million on the tag. They said, the sources says the tag is designed as a placeholder until the two sides can reach agreement. So they said they also going to hammer out the luxury long-term deal. So right now, they are tagging Hall for now, and then they'll wait to see if they sign a long-term extension. So, are you surprised that the Jets have tagged Breece Hall, or he would have signed elsewhere? Well, technically, I'm a little bit surprised. Not a lot, but it did turn out that Breece Hall has done enough to put themselves in a position but now if the Jets running game has struggled in the last few years, but now the question is this a make or break year for Breece Hall in 2026? So if he does break out this year, then things will be better for him for the last few seasons. Maybe his first season and a half he's been rolling, and then he's been derailed by injuries, and then numbers start to decline year after year. I mean, for Breece Hall. I mean, you can't give these guys issues for over the years, it feels like the Jets are just looking for something to go with it. So hope Breece Hall can really do just that. And here. All right, speaking of which, all right, let's continue more free agency stuff. Daniel Jones, the Colts are seeking to sign Daniel Jones before the tag deadline. So they're trying to get this deal done. So if the Colts do extend Daniel Jones, how many years does he get it? Let's talk Daniel Jones. He had a solid year last year before he went down with a major injury. That was a major blow for him. The Colts got off to a fantastic 7-1 start. The Colts were 8-2 at the bye. And then since that time, the Colts ended the regular season on a 7-game losing streak, including Daniel Jones got hurt in Week 14 against the Jaguars. And then that led to signing of Phillip Rivers, unretired. He made 3 total starts trying to get this team to the playoffs. Nothing worked. And the Colts ending up eliminated from the playoff contention. And then Riley Leonard got the start for the Colts to wrap up the regular season. So I think Indianapolis would love to bring Daniel Jones back. I love to bring Jones back to the Colts with a deal. Could be 3 years. If that's the case, and now you have Jonathan Taylor. And the area that the Colts they need to improve. Yes, they need some defensive help. But the Colts offense hasn't been bad in 2025. So unfortunately, they only went 8-9. They finishing the season on a 7-game losing streak. I'm not putting this on Shane Steichen. I don't think so. I think Shane will learn from this next year. Let's say this year will be their year. If they can go on from late season collapse to making the playoffs next year, the Colts have not reached the postseason since 2020-21 season, and Phillip Rivers was a full-time quarterback. And who was the head coach at the time? For the Indianapolis Colts? Frank Wright. Frank Wright was the Colts head coach. And then he got let go after the 2022 season. So it was a huge moment for him. Because of that, there's a lot of things that can put him at the plate. And that's that. If that's the case, then you put yourself in really good old differences because of that. It's no problem. But I do like the fact that this football team has done it all. So So it's tough to operate these guys. So let's take a look at notable players who's placing on a franchise tag. Right now it's George Pickens, Kyle Pitts, Breece Hall most recently, Odafe Uwe for the Ravens, and then just moments ago, Travis Etienne. So overall, 5 players placed on franchise tag. If Jones places on franchise tag, he'll be this will be their 6th. So 5 players in 2026 have placed their franchise tags. So they're still waiting for long-term deals, if that's going to be the case. So NFL free agency does continue. We will continue all off-season long. So if that's going to be the case right now. So let's see how it really pans out a little bit. All right. So coming up next, we'll preview the Spurs and the 76ers and who might pick for tonight. It's a legendary night between these two teams. We got, and also coming up, when is Jayson Tatum coming back? When he's going to return? So, and then we'll update Clippers. We'll recap Clippers and Warriors from last night's game. So we'll step it away in about 3 minutes. All right, so the Spurs squaring off against the 76ers tonight in Philadelphia. The Spurs recently snapped their 11-game winning streak 2 days ago against the Knicks in New York. The 76ers come off a 16-point loss to the Boston Celtics on the road. So let's see, either of these teams could rebound tonight. All right, so the Spurs record is 43-17. They're the number 2 seed in the West. 76ers is 33-27. They're clinging and hanging on the number 6 seed in the Eastern Conference. So it's going to be Wembanyama versus Maxey tonight. All right, here. So let's. Because Spurs will have their challenges. They're at Philadelphia, then home for the Pistons. And so they'll see them a couple of times. They'll play on April 6th. So now, has Victor Wembanyama played MVP level this year? Yes, he has. He has played MVP level this year. And there's no getting around it. And we talk all that stuff. We see everyone stepping a foot on this court, and you have the stuff that you're going at. Yeah, they're 3 games back of the Western Conference, the number 1 seed, behind the Thunder. So the Spurs are just 3 games behind the Thunder for the number 1 spot of the West. Spurs have a tiebreaker with Oklahoma because Spurs have won 4 out of the 5 times in the regular season. So we'll see how this plays out here. So Wembanyama is playing an MVP level this year. He's averaged 24 points a game. He's averaged over 1.5 blocks per game. I believe he's going to get a Defensive Player of the Year consideration as well. I mean, Victor is going to win Defensive Player of the Year. And an MVP case is going to be SGA for sure. but Wembanyama is making an MVP push. So he's got to play a bunch of games down the stretch. I mean, there's no way you can watch himself, but he does. He does that time and time again. I mean, hopefully, you have a championship potential. Spurs will have a championship potential. If Wembanyama is healthy enough, then they can get to the finals. If they can do this, oh man, how the Spurs made the NBA Finals? I mean, this team is clearly unbelievable, but they're not there yet. We got like 3 more months. They gotta take care of business the rest of the regular season. They gotta take care of the first 3 rounds of the playoffs, and then you get yourself an NBA Finals starting in June. So, and then any of these Eastern Conference teams, whoever is the Eastern Conference champions will be crowned. Detroit, Boston, New York, Cleveland, Toronto, Philadelphia. That's the top 6 that they would be in the playoffs. It's not official, but 6 teams would be in right now if the season had ended. For the West, you got Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Houston, Minnesota, Denver, LA Lakers. That's the top 6 right now. If it had ended today, these 6 teams would be top 6. So that's an opportunity you really have to make. Because San Antonio is the most talented team in the NBA. I would say they're talented on paper. They're talented because they got younger and they got stronger and they got better. Wembanyama, Vassell, Castle, Keldon Johnson, those are consistent guys. And it's about scoring after scoring contributions. You have to contribute night in and night out, even you do not shot the ball well. So I think the San Antonio Spurs are legit contenders to come out of the West. Playoff matchups is going to be crucial for the Spurs, especially the first round, second round, maybe the conference finals. So, in the Western Conference Finals projection, it could be Spurs and Thunder. Several options. You could face the Nuggets or Minnesota. So if it's Minnesota, San Antonio, that would be the series that would be competitive. Both Spurs and Timberwolves are their defense is pretty good. But who's a better three-point shooting team? It's got to be the San Antonio Spurs. And Victor Wembanyama could be an MVP conversation. I believe he's in a Defensive Player of the Year conversation as well. He leads the NBA in blocks this season. I mean, he's been unbelievable right from the get-go. So, if the season ends today, Spurs will have their bye because Warriors and Suns will battle for the 7th seed in the play-in tournament. And the winner of that matchup will face the Spurs for the 7 versus 2 game. Thunder, the 1 seed, they have a bye themselves. because the team is racing for the AFC. Whoever wins the AFC faces the Thunder. So it would be the best case scenario to get that point. As for the Philadelphia 76ers, they come off a tough loss to the Celtics in Boston. The season series were split. So Joel Embiid's still out. We don't know when they're going to reevaluate Joel Embiid. So the biggest issue was health and suspending of Paul George. He is coming back later this month. That's the good news. Paul George is returning later this month. So that could help the Sixers' final push. What's the Sixers' schedule look like? Starting tonight against the Spurs at home. They're home for the Jazz. Tomorrow, second night of the back-to-back. And then they're at Atlanta. And then at Cleveland. They struggle against them this year. They're back home against the Grizzlies. And then at Detroit. No success against Detroit. Home for Brooklyn. Home for the Trailblazers. At Denver. At Sacramento. At Utah. And then Sixers back home against the Thunder. Jerry McCain will face his former team, by the way, for the Thunder. And then host the Bulls at Charlotte, at Miami, at Washington, home for Minnesota, home for Detroit, at San Antonio on the 6th of April, at Houston, at Indiana, and they'll end the season at home against the Bucks. So, strength of schedule is actually not that bad. But let's take a look at teams against better than 500 starting today. They're going to play San Antonio twice, Cleveland, Detroit, Denver, Oklahoma City, Miami, Minnesota. Houston. So there's several teams that are going to face all 500 teams. So strength of schedule is up and down. I believe it's most tough and some easy schedules. They got to play the Pistons twice. They got to play the Spurs twice. Who else they have to play them twice down the stretch, as far as I'm concerned. And they got to play the Jazz twice. The Jazz are not that good. So they had some easy games down the stretch and some tough ones. So it started 2 days ago. The tough schedule, the most tough schedule is going against the Sixers. And I don't know how much longer they can hold on to number 60 in the Eastern Conference. They're sitting 33-27. That's twice as better than they were a year ago. But the biggest story is Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. They both make a huge impact. I mean, yeah, I understand. Some supporting cast has improved some, so hopefully even they don't have Joel Embiid or Paul George, either injury or suspension. But the Sixers, the cohesiveness, Nick Nurse has done a pretty good job. Just put some things together. So hopefully Philadelphia will grind this thing out. So Philadelphia is better than on the road than at home this year. So let's see how that pans out a little bit for the 76ers. They need to get Joel Embiid back. That's the key. We do not know when he's going to reevaluate. So we'll have to see what's going on this very end. So if that's the case, then it's not going to be an issue at all. So now with that. All right. So predictions of numbers of points and other stuff. Who will be the leading scorer for the San Antonio Spurs tonight? Victor Wembanyama struggled the last few games, but I think he'll get back on track. Victor Wembanyama, 34 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 blocks, and 2 steals. That's my prediction for the numbers. Tyrese Maxey will have 38 points, 12 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 block, and 4 3-pointers. So those are the potential lead scores for tonight's game. And who am I picking tonight? Spurs or the 76ers? I'm going to pick the Spurs winning tonight, and the final score prediction, it'll be the Spurs 115, the 76ers 112. I think it's going to be a close game in Philadelphia. All right, so coming up next, we'll update Jayson Tatum, and then we'll recap Clippers and the Warriors, and then we'll wrap it up. What's coming up in tomorrow's episode? We will step away in 3 minutes. All right, we have breaking news in the NBA. The Celtics star Jayson Tatum will make his debut this Friday against the Dallas Mavericks. When the Celtics are home for the next couple of games. The Celtics are going to play the Hornets tomorrow, and then they're going to play the Mavericks on Friday night. So we will see Jayson Tatum for the first time since he torn his ACL in Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals last year. So now let's outlook for Jayson Tatum first. Are you surprised they bring Jayson Tatum back? No. I'm happy that Jayson Tatum is coming back. I'm happy that Jayson Tatum is coming back. He had to grind it out over his last 9.5 months. It's been 9.5 months since he tore his ACL. So he had to grind it. He had to work hard for it. I mean, Jayson continues to grind every single week since his recovery. But like I said, the Celtics record 41-20. Celtics had another win yesterday against the Bucks on the road, despite Giannis returned to the Bucks team last night. Jaylen Brown didn't play last night because he was illness. But Jayson Tatum return is going to be huge for the Celtics by going forward. I mean, if Tatum comes back, we're going to have White, Tatum, Brown, Kata, and then the other started by committee. So it started by committee. Like, as far as matchups, Sam Hauser, So starting line when returned, it's going to be White, Tatum, Kata, and Baylor Shireman, most likely. The bench is going to be Hauser, Pritchard, so this is a situation. I think the depth is a depth flexibility. And the depth of the flexibility for the Celtics has been improved themselves. The bench play has improved. You just talk about making hitting 3-pointers, have success with it, all that stuff. But Jayson Tatum we'll see how well he performs in his debut. Well, his minutes might be down though. So they're probably going to place Tatum on minutes restriction. He'll probably going to play 15 to 20 minutes. So he won't play a lot of minutes down the stretch. So if he's fully 100% by the playoffs, then should they rest Jayson Tatum if the Celtics do make the playoffs? Or they have clinched their spot. If they do, then Jayson has to sit out sit out for the playoffs. When the playoffs begins. So hopefully that will be the best case scenario to turn out. So that's what the continuation is all about. And there's nothing else you can take away from it. There is nothing else you can really take away from. So that will be the case for this player. So now let's talk about the game last night between the Celtics and the Bucks. Celtics beat the Bucks 108-81 in Milwaukee. So who led the way in points last night? Peyton Pritchard had 25 points, 5 made 3-pointers. Hugo Gonzalez had a good game, 18 points, 16 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Derek White had 18 points, struggled to shoot the basketball yesterday. Sam Hauser had 14 points. So there's contributions. Jaylen Brown did not play last night. He was battling with an illness. Hopefully he comes back tomorrow against the Hornets at home. He's still not 100%, but hopefully he comes to play tomorrow. So Giannis returned last night. How did he do? He went 19 points, 11 boards. He went 7 for 18 from the field. So the offense for the Bucks has struggled. It's no surprise, but the Bucks blew a lead 2 days ago against the Bulls. The Bulls team were sitting on the 11-game losing streak, and they snapped it. This is the Bulls team. They did not win a single month in February. And now with the Bucks loss, they're 26-34. There's still plenty of time for the final spot of the play-in tournament. But when it gets to the final 3 weeks left in the regular season, if the Bucks don't keep up, they're running out of time. They're clearly running out of time because of that. If they don't make the play-in and making the playoffs at the same time this year, is this the end of line of Giannis? And then the Bucks could fire Doc Rivers as head coach. Will they do that? So we'll see how how that goes for Milwaukee Bucks, if that's the case. So it's a little different story, to say the least. But hopefully that's going to change out a little bit. At the end of the line. So hopefully they'll have to come out and make their own differences. So Jayson Tatum expected to return this Friday against Dallas. So I'm happy that he's coming back, and hopefully he continues to grow. Hopefully he keeps doing the stuff that he wanted to. So hopefully that would be the case right now. So I think Jayson Tatum will have all the stuff you don't have it in this one here. So we'll see how that goes here the rest of the way out. And just be my guess at the end of the process. So that could be huge. It could be huge moments for them. All right, coming up next, we'll talk Clippers and Warriors. The game was in San Francisco, Game 3 of the 4-game season series. It's a Pacific Division matchup. And then we'll wrap things up, what's coming up in our next episode. And, all right, we'll be right back. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. We'll step aside. All right, welcome back here on JDB's Morning Cap. The Warriors scored off the Clippers last night in Golden One Center in San Francisco. Still no Stephen Curry. He is evaluated no more than a week and a half. So the Clippers were down as many as 17 points, but they came back and defeated the Warriors 114-101. Kawhi Leonard had 23 points. Chris Dunn with 16 points himself. As the Clippers improved to 29-31, the Warriors dip to 31-30. The Clippers leads the season series 2-1. These two will play each other on April 12th in Inglewood. So we'll see how that plays out right now. So let me ask this question really quick about the Los Angeles Clippers. What do you think about the Clippers last night's win? Well, you talk about in the first half, the Clippers offense struggled in the first half, but they settled down in the second half. But the Clippers didn't shoot the three-point great. They went 9 for 31, which is 29%. But the defense was great yesterday, especially in the second half. They held the Warriors just 39% from the field overall in this game, despite they surrendered 35% from long range. 17 for 48 for the Warriors as far as three-pointers. And the Clippers out-rebounded the Warriors 52-40. And they had 15 offensive rebounds as well. I mean, that's going to be the key, offensive rebounds. And second chance opportunities. It's going to help the Clippers to keep it in a play-in tournament. The Clippers will not make the top 6 in the playoffs, but they will be in the play-in tournament. The only thing is path to the number 8 seed in the Western Conference. I mean, this is a tough situation to make, but the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, I mean, you said it best, the Kawhi Leonard effect has worked as planned. But the way it turns out, this is a difference maker. You want to make it out. It's gonna blow your chance, but it would even blow your chance right now if it does. So it may have improved big differences, but there's no questions asked. So I think Clippers, they just need to figure things out. Chris Dunn had a solid game yesterday. The other guy who had a good game is Hauser. He had 9 rebounds, 11 points, 4 blocks, and 2 steals. That's how well he performed. And other contributions, Jordan Miller with 12 points. Darius Garland made his Clippers debut yesterday, 12 points. He didn't shoot the ball great in his debut, just 4 for 9 from the field, 2 for 7 from downtown. He had 5 turnovers as well. But Bennett Mathurin had 17 points, 7 rebounds. He was huge down the stretch. I mean, they need some contributions for the Clippers down the stretch, as we have fewer games left remaining of their schedules. So, you know how respected this team is. As for the Warriors, they blew a 17-point lead in a 13-point loss. So the question is, did they miss Stephen Curry? Yes, they did. Yes, they have. They have missed Stephen Curry. I mean, it's just because, supporting cast has done a decent job, but this team's been mid since Stephen Curry has been out, and Draymond Green has been missing some games as well. But it's been a tumultuous week for the Warriors. Gui Santos signed a 3-year extension 3 days ago. But Brandon Brzezinski had a decent game yesterday, 22 points, 7 rebounds. He made 3 3-pointers. Largely, he played well in the first half. Al Horford had 17 points. And then Nate Williams had 18 points. So we've seen some decent contributions for the Warriors, but just wasn't enough. Just wasn't enough last night. And that's a little bit of a concern for Steve Kerr. I think the Warriors are just trying to, they're clearly a half team to me. They're a half team. I'm pretty sure that the Warriors, since they won their 4th title, the Warriors are an average basketball team since that time. Warriors have reached a play-in each of their last 3 seasons. Actually, no. The Warriors were the number 6 seed, and they reached a play-in tournament in each of the last 2 years. I mean, that's how average they are. The reason why they're an average basketball team, it's the Warriors are dealing a ton of injuries. I mean, they've been going through so much big-time adversity. They've been going through so much. It's a tough situation right now. They're going through it. They're 100% going through it right now. Let's see if they can turn this thing around down the stretch as we're approaching the final month and one quarter of the season. This is the last quarter of the NBA season. Hopefully, the playoffs or play-in will be looming every single time. So Warriors have Porzingis out because of illness. They have Curry out with a bad back. They have Richard out with an ankle. They have Butler out for the year with a. They have Curry out. Seth Curry was out with a back injury, and then Stephen Curry with a knee. So 2 Currys were injured. Butler not coming back this year. Porzingis dealing with illness. Richard had a bad ankle. Injuries have been looming for the Warriors this season. It's been disappointing for the Warriors as far as health. So they got to turn the corner down the stretch if they need it. Especially Draymond Green. These guys has to step up. Other than these guys like Moody, Horford, Melton, Podziemski, Santos, Post, Spencer, Williams. Somebody has to step up. When I looked for the Warriors' schedule, they got Houston on Thursday. They got the Thunder on Saturday. They got Utah. And then back home against Chicago, Minnesota, and then they're at New York. And then they'll play Boston and Detroit. Those are the schedules that is not going to be easy. And then they got to play Cleveland and Houston and the Lakers. And then they'll play the Clippers to end the year. All right, let's wrap things up. What's coming up tomorrow? We'll talk more free agency in the NFL. We'll update the Seattle Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker as well. As the news just showed out moments ago, we'll talk about that tomorrow. And then I'll recap Spurs and 76ers tomorrow as well. And I'll preview Thunder Knicks in New York. So I'll talk all of that stuff as well. So what I said today, we talk about the Cowboys needs to improve their acquisitions. We talked about we also talk about Jayson Tatum will make his debut this Friday. We also preview Spurs and the 76ers. We talk about Clippers and the Warriors, recapping, and then NFL free agency. We talk about Breece Hall placing our franchise tag, and we'll update Daniel Jones whether or not he's signing or is he tagging. So those are the stuff we've been talking about today. So that'll be that. Well, that's it. That's gonna do it here. This is JDB's Morning Cap. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day.